Okay, so no problems. Did anybody have any problems with the brushes? No? Because then I won't go into all that. I'll just see that you did it and I'm good.
So I did have an issue with one of them.
Of course. No, go
When
ahead.
so I made like a mark in Photoshop, right? And I copied it over. And I was able to make a brush, but when I used it and I overlapped it, it would have like a white border.
Did you put ignore white?
Did I what?
Did you do ignore white?
I didn't see the option.
Okay, here's why. You can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
This is why I always overemphasize this probably. Oh, cool. It rearranged my thing again. I love it when it does that. Super cool. Right here, image trace, right? Then we get this window, yeah?
Uh-huh.
So let's take, I don't know if I can do it with, yeah, okay. So let's just take this, right? So you're not gonna, well, you are here. Normally you're gonna see this, right?
Right.
But what you have to do is drop this advanced thing, and then right here it says ignore white.
Oh, okay.
And then it won't pick up the white anymore.
Okay.
But you have to do that drop down menu.
Thank you.
By the way, I got to take a picture of that. There's a McDonald's. I think I told you guys about it, where they have these big, wall mural things, right? And it's like, I don't know, somebody drinking a Coke and they're all having a good time or something, right? And it's real stylized. It's real colorful. I mean, it's fine, right? And then I walk in and I go, and I knew it right when I saw it. I go, that's the image trace filter. And they sort of just dialed it in. So it gave it sort of a, sort of a blotchy, colorful look, right? You get up close to it now with you guys having used that filter, you'll see it immediately. And then they just probably went in and however that worked and sold them on the idea of this. And all they did was just probably took stock images and just image traced them and probably tweaked them a little bit with the color and all that kind of stuff. And that was it. And then what? And then they can go, oh, that wall's 12 by 8 feet high. Okay, cool. Blow it up. Doesn't matter. Resolution doesn't matter. And actually, as it gets bigger and the shapes get a little more noticeable, it actually becomes more stylized looking. Does that make sense? Because there's a part of me that wants to be a big snob about it all, but then I look at it and I go, it works. You know what I mean? They got paid and it works. So what else do you want? I'm of the mind, I mean, I want to do a good job and all that, but I'm also of the mind where it's like, I want to get paid. You know what I mean? And this is a good solution. If it's a good solution, I'm going to get paid quicker. Perfect. Right? And you never tell them how you're doing it. You just come in and go, hey, we could do something like this. Like it's hard, Unless there's somebody else on the thing and you come in, you make your big pitch, and then somebody goes, isn't that just the image trace filter? And then you're like, you shrink all small and you run out of the room. Okay. Okay, so what are you thinking on these? You're there, right? Is he here?
Yeah. Sorry, I was muted. Hello?
Okay, so what are you thinking?
I'm between Baja and Hawaii. Like
okay.
I have, yeah. So the three on the right, on the top and the bottom of the thumbnails, between
these three.
Yeah.
I just screwed that one up. Hang on. There. Now, what you're going to need to do, obviously, I mean, yeah, this is good for reference. You got to, you're going to have to come up with your own composition and all that, right?
Yeah.
And design. And one of the things that works really nice in this is like if you got, big shapy ideas, right? And then if you got a, like a tree trunk or something, we can do that barky texture on it. And that, so you're leaving open areas where you can sort of, what do you call that? Show some surface detail and stuff like that. Also, you're going to want to really design it, right?
Mm-hmm.
What some people try to get away with in this project is they go, oh, cool, I'll take that and I'll image trace it, and I'll take that and I'll image trace it, and I'll take that and that's not what I'm looking for. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, sometimes, go ahead.
Where? Oh, sorry, my camera died. Great. Forget it. Yeah, I lost my trail of thought.
No show today.
Yeah.
Okay, what were you gonna say?
I lost my train of thought. That was the thing. I was like, damn it, camera.
What I was gonna say though is sometimes, and I'll show you guys this, like somebody was doing like a Monument Valley kind of thing. And I go, well, let's go take the, scan or, take a photo or get a photo that has really interesting, uh, uh, like rock textures and stuff like that. And we went and we image traced that, or I think we might have isolated it in Photoshop or something. And we came in and all we used was just those rock shapes over the flat shapes. And it looked really cool, and then did a real warm light on it and it looked bitchin'. So like, I'm not saying you can't ever use that, but don't go into the thinking like, oh, this image trace a palm tree, image trace the landmass, image trace this, and put them all together. You don't want to do that. I'm not saying that there can't be some image trace stuff in there because sometimes it works. And also, really think about from a stylistic perspective, like if I'm going to have a palm tree in there, how am I going to design that?
Yeah, I'd probably just use the image trace to see like possible shadow for the objects rather than just use that.
I mean,
as a
whatever your
base.
process is, I don't care.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is that don't do that thing that a lot of people do where they just go, oh, just image trace everything, put it all together,
That seems harder to do.
And by the way, it's like I see a lot of t-shirts and stuff where I go, that's probably, unless they're not thinking through it very well. Like when you see those real high contrast vector graphics of some, I don't know, rock star or something, and you go, well, I would just image trace that, and I would reduce the shapes down to like 2 or 3 shapes. Then I would assign a color to it and I'm out. Does that make sense? So sometimes that makes sense. But again, we always want to be using the right tool for the right job. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so which one are you leaning towards?
The middle one of Baja.
Baja. Here?
Yeah.
This one?
Yeah, right there. I just like the rock formation right there. I don't know how I'm gonna put that in there. Do we have to do portrait or landscape on it? Or it doesn't matter.
I don't care.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, I don't want to put that limit on it. Normally it would probably be a vertical thing, but the thing is now, I mean, all these things live in such a different way now, right? So if I was doing this for somebody, yeah, if it was a poster, it's probably going to be vertical, probably. But nowadays they're going to go, okay, we're going to do a poster of it. It's going to be our social media thing. Maybe we're going to create a whole social media thing around it. Maybe we'll come back to you and ask you to change this and add that and do that. So we have sort of another image, because that's another thing that's nice about Illustrator is everything's sort of its own shape. So I can come in here and rearrange it, maybe add a toucan into it or something, and boom, I got a whole nother image. You know what I mean? I can endlessly spin images out of these things, So I could give, I could do, just all sorts of things, right? It might be format things, or it might just be like I think I told you guys, my girlfriend's place, I did a big painting of the restaurant, like about 10 feet long, I think. And for this Brewfest thing. And then I go, hey, you should, okay, so then we have that. Now we have that image, right? So then I go, hey, what do you call it? Christmas or something's coming up, right? So then I took the same image back into Photoshop and I just painted snow and stuff all over it, changed the lighting a little bit. Boom, now I got a winter image of the same image, which didn't take me very long, right? Then I go, hey, you know what you should do right now for the, what do you call it, Christmas? And then I took it into Premiere, and then it's very easy to do. I just put snow falling in front of it, glowed up the windows a little more, had the fade in, season's greetings from blah, blah, blah. I got like 3 or 4 different things out of that for them to, message and advertise and all that, right? And it smokes their competition, which I love, because they have no idea how to do that. And I always love kicking somebody's ass competitively. I just like it. Okay, so you're thinking this one right here.
Yeah, because it actually does show trees. It shows the ocean, probably a little bit of like architecture, like a bridge or something. I'm trying to figure out how I can include the rock formations on the right side. Do you like that?
You might want to go horizontal then.
Okay.
Like these things here. What's iconic in Baja? Is that it?
There's not really much. It's mostly a beachy area, part of Baja California. Known for a lot of beaches.
That's probably much more developed though than it used to be, I would think, right?
Yeah.
Because I think Baja used to be, you know, you went out there and went surfing and stuff like that. And I think it was pretty boonies.
Hmm.
Let me see. Yeah, looks like what you're saying, basically. Yeah, it's just a seaside, whatever you call it. Wow, it still looks kind of boonies. It's got some hotels and stuff, but
I've been there in 16 years, so I can't say what it looks like now.
last time I was in Mexico, well, I used to go down to Tijuana all the time.
Depends on what area you go to.
Huh?
It depends on what area you go to. Baja.
Last time I went any further in was Rosarita, down to Rosarita, I think, and that was I think that was in the 70s.
Oh, it's developed a lot. I was just there a couple weeks ago.
And
It's
then-
crazy how much building it's going on right now
Yeah,
because
and
of the tourist stuff.
I'm sure Tijuana is a completely different place now.
Mhm.
For Baja, I've been
Beautiful.
to like San Felipe and San Quintin. That's about as far as I went through Baja.
Tijuana used to be a blast, man. It was just like a dusty, dirty border town. It was super fun, man. You could go down there and drink no matter how old you were.
Oh, I know.
And those little bacon wrapped hot dogs at like 4 a.m. are like the best after party food ever. Okay, just figure out the composition.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and you know, and you can also, I'll show you next time, you know, because I don't want to get into it yet. You know, there's different ways you can handle this rock stuff. There's a whole bunch of different ways, right? One of them, you could do it by hand. You can try image trace. Sometimes image trace doesn't work. It just gets too busy, but you can reduce down the shapes. There's just a bunch of stuff you can do, right?
Mm.
And by the way, when you're doing something, let's say you were doing this, if let's say I have, God, I hate that, hang on. And I have, this is this, oops. This is this color. This is this color. This line is this color. These are that color. Oops. Let's go fill. So if you're getting into something where you have really definite shapes, because this is going to come into play in this, in, you know, what we're going to be doing. And let's try that color. And you're going, okay, I want to, let's say you got a lot of this red throughout the illustration, okay? And you go, I want to select all those red shapes, right? So I can pick this, I can come up to select same fill color, right? And so if I had these, oops, you know, are scattered throughout the illustration. If I come in here, I grab one shape, select same fill color, it'll select all of them. Okay. I can do the same thing with, I don't even know what color that is. Let's pick this. This is just a line, right? Select same. So I can go fill and stroke, fill color, opacity, stroke color, and it picks all the different ones with that stroke on it. Select same. So you have all the stroke weight. So you have all these things that'll single something out when you have a lot of stuff going on. Does that make sense? Okay. It'll help you if you do like an image trace thing on something like this. And let's say you reduce it down to 3 colors so that maybe I could go in and go select same this gray or whatever, select all of them in here. Now I can assign it a color, select these, I can assign that a color. Now I got maybe 3 colors in there to get a start on it. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Because when you image trace something, it could get very complex, right? Because you can make
Sure.
Like if this is image tracing and you're putting on it where it's doing a lot, especially if it's doing color, it'll make it a lot easier to try and single things out in there because it could get really complicated. Also, if you image trace a really complex image, it's going to bog, it's going to eat a lot of memory because it's got millions of points now, like little points, little shapes, little tiny points all over the place. So sometimes what'll happen is, like, let's say you zoom in on it, it'll think for a while because it's going, I got to find all these points again, right? Then you zoom out and it goes, I got to find all these points again. And it's finding, millions of them. Okay. All right. So just refine it.
Mhm.
And if you can, any of you that we're going to, refine a little bit, if you want to send it to me over the weekend, because I feel like I lost a day I kind of did because of the, whatever you call it, the power outage. And nobody had any trouble with the curvature tool either, right?
I was using it for the last project.
Were you?
Yeah.
What I like, that's what I like, is like people will look at, because I always look at curvature tool and I do think it's a useful tool, but old dog, new tricks. And I just don't tend to use it that much. And I like it when students start using tools that I never use. And then I just like it when they start using things based on their own needs, or whatever you want to say, solutions, whatever you want to say.
Yeah, I used it for the straight jacket.
Oh, did you use it before we talked about it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Because you know what's weird? I had no idea what that tool was for until not that long ago. Because I just looked at it and I go, I can't control this stupid thing. And I didn't realize you can kind of do it and then go in and create all the curves, right? That's my problem, is I'm too reactionary with these things. And now I don't do that anymore. I go, okay, I want to go look at exactly how this thing works. Okay, who's this?
I'm here. It's Emily.
Oh, it's Emily. Okay. Okay, so where is this Vista? Oh, Visit, Banff. Where is that? I've heard of that.
It's in Canada.
Oh, it's in Canada. Now, be careful here, because we're kind of splitting this right down the center. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
It's not totally, and you got to be careful. Another thing, like if you're going to do, I'm going to do this in Illustrator or Photoshop. Hang on. We're doing this one in Photoshop right now. So if I'm going to do this kind of thing, I might get, maybe this is coming in and the river's sort of winding around and I'm getting some land masses here. Maybe this comes into the foreground. Does that make sense?
Yeah, just to add more movement.
Well, you want to break it up. Like, I don't want this to just, I don't want to look at it sort of the river sort of doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I want to look at it where the river's probably somehow winding through this canyon or whatever. Maybe there's a landmass here, and then maybe there's, more bluffs or something back here, and maybe a lower landmass here. So I just start getting a little more composition and a little more of a breakup. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
This one was confusing. Sorry. Or, maybe I go, what is that place? Like a canyon?
I think that one is a lake.
Okay, so it's a lake. So maybe I have, I don't don't know, like a bluff here in the foreground. I've got a happy couple with their binoculars and their backpacks and their yuppie BS. And, you know, and they're hiking and they're looking out at the crazy lake with the beautiful bluffs back there. Maybe there's something down here. I want to do a demo on one Monday, sort of this sort of scene. Okay. I might have one actually. That's a little better than the last one I did. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So now I've got a little foreground area. I've got my, and then maybe I can see the beach down here. I can see beach umbrellas or something. I don't know. Okay.
Okay.
And then I have, shit. What is it called? I'll look for it in a minute. Okay, so does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So just organize it, you know. I'm going to be saying the same thing, okay?
Mhm.
I was just talking about this in my illustration class, or one of my class, I can't remember. Well, my Saturday class. And everybody's sort of hitting the same wall, because they all do, okay? They're all hitting the same wall with, I don't know, whatever it is, contrast or something. And after a while, I just kind of go, okay, it's all the same comment after a while. Ah, it's that dirty Josh Borgia. Damn it. Such a low down, dirty, double dealing snake in the grass. Okay, here you go.
It's true.
Where's this?
I just made it up.
Where did the drawing start with you? Are you frozen or am I frozen? I think I am.
In time.
Was I frozen?
Yeah.
Okay, where did drawing start with you, Josh?
What was that?
Where did drawing start with you?
Where did drawing start?
When? Let's say.
Not sure what you mean. Not
Well,
sure
how
what
long
you're
ago did you really start drawing?
asking. I think like 2017.
Wow, that's not that long ago.
Yeah, that's when I started like really like focusing more on it. Before I would just kind of like doodle around. Nothing
Did
serious.
you have any identity as a kid? Like, yeah, I might want to do that.
I've always liked like comic stuff, but I never actually thought I could do it. It was never like an option really.
Okay, the interesting thing about it is, I think I talked to you about this, but I think it's interesting. You're doing the same thing as one other student I had, which is you're sort of really developing a drawing skill actually not fairly, really fast. But alongside of it, it's also, you're developing your own style with it, which is weird. That's odd. That doesn't usually happen. It's usually you sort of got to build the foundation and then you're working, drawing. And then a style starts to come out of that.
Right.
Does that make sense? It also doesn't feel derivative to me. Like I can't quite place it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So normally I can look at it, and I'm not saying it's in a bad way. Normally you can look at it and you go, oh, you really like Jack Kirby.
Mhm.
Or you really like whoever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not to say that they look just like those people. You know, it's just like when you hear Hendrix, you go, oh, there's Curtis Mayfield, and oh, there's the Isley Brothers, and oh, you know what I mean? It's its own thing, but you can see where this influences came from. So anyway, it's interesting. But like, are you doing a lot of observational stuff yet?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Did I have you on Saturday yet?
Yes. Yeah, that was like one of the first classes I had at Fullerton.
Oh, that was a good one then.
Yeah, it helped a lot.
So just do that.
Okay.
I don't know if that's where this is coming from. If you're doing a lot of sketchbook stuff, that's usually where it comes from.
Yeah.
But there's so much value in that. Make sure you're in that damn sketchbook all the time. And, you know, and then normally like with people who are earlier on like this, like you were doing, you know, you're doing some painting things, and like you did one of the what do you call those? The newspaper things.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was really interesting because it's just something observational that you took into a stylistic point of view. I think that's really interesting. A
Yeah.
lot of times with people, I go, I'll knock it off with the stylization stuff. Why don't you learn how to draw first? But I think you're actually running them alongside each other, and it's working.
Cool.
Okay, which
Glad.
doesn't usually work. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I think it's because it doesn't feel like you're trying to find a style. It seems like it's finding you,
Right.
right? Which I think is how it's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Like whenever I hear people and I go, what are you working on? Oh, I'm trying to find my style. It's like, good luck. Like once you think you're going to try to find it, you're not going to find it.
Yeah.
It's going to be out of your reach, because you got to just work,
Yeah. Yeah. It was definitely, I mean, that was the first class that anyone really taught me like to just look at objects and see how they're like built.
It's methodology.
So,
Just make sure and all you guys, make sure, and I probably said this a million times, but it's important to me. And it's important to me that you guys manage your education, right?
mhm.
Make sure that you're getting solid fundamentals and solid methodology out of whatever you're taking.
Right.
You know what I mean? And sometimes, by the way, you can take a class with somebody who's really good, who's really teaching you some good stuff, and it doesn't resonate with you, or you just don't know enough about it yet. I had teachers like this.
Mhm.
But the one thing I was smart enough about, and I didn't think I was that smart about much back then, is when I go, wow, I don't like this. I don't like the way this person draws. I don't like the way this person is approaching things, whatever. I don't like the way they're making me draw like this. And but the one thing I knew is I'm like, this person has 20 years experience. I have 0. So they probably know more than me. And I might turn out to be wrong, but I never did. It always was like, I did learn a lot from them, pushing me out of my comfort zone,
Mhm.
pushing me into a different way of thinking. And like one of those guys, I really didn't like his class, and I didn't like his drawing style or his illustration style, but I respected it. I went, he is good at that. It's just not my thing. You know what I mean? So I wasn't just glomming onto people and going, from a stylistic point of view, I was glomming onto them from a fundamental point of view and what they can teach me point of view. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And my thing was always fundamentals. I just knew that much. I didn't know anything, but I knew like the way to do what I want to do is not just to go and learn, okay, how do you do that thing? That's not how you learn it. It's like, I got to go to Gary and get all these fundamentals of painting and all that stuff, and fundamentals of this from Norm, and fundamentals of this from this person. And then I can start putting all that together and doing that. Otherwise, you're trying to skip the line. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so where is this? Volcano here, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. So like a volcano on an island with some foliage in the front.
What's this one here?
That one's like a willow tree, some mountains, like a foresty setting. with
Where's
the
this for?
river.
Or what's it for? What's it
What
for?
was that?
What's it for? These posters.
I just want to make like a vacation, like a travel poster type.
Where's this one? Why?
Nowhere.
Where's this one? You can make these up too, by the way. You can make it
Yeah,
up.
yeah. It's not anywhere in particular. I just made it up.
Hey, come over here to an exploding volcano for vacation.
Yeah.
There are places like, well, Hawaii has active volcanoes.
Right.
Right. And that's why you go there like, wow, lava. I like this one. What do you think?
Yeah, I was leaning towards that one too.
And then it's
It'd be
probably
fun to.
this diagonal tree. Like, I don't
Mhm.
mind this being in the center. It feels very formal, graphic.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because you got that tree at an angle where it just sort of takes it out of feeling so straight, right?
Mhm.
And I can't find it online. There's a fire tower up here that they let you go up in it. It's way
That's cool.
up the peak on Keller Peak, right?
Yeah.
I love all that Forest Service stuff. But anyway, you go up there and they got these old Smokey the Bear posters that were done by I forgot the guy's name who did the original ones. And they're like in gouache or something. And they have one, it's kind of like this, but it's like the forest is on fire, right? I think it's in gouache.
Yeah.
And like all the animals are sort of, I think they're all in the foreground. And they're like, hey, don't do this, the whole forest. But anyway, it's got this big plume of smoke coming out of it that the guy just painted like really cool. And I think there's like animal faces or something in it because they're like telling you like you're killing all these animals, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, it's a spectacular poster, right?
Yeah.
So the only other thing, and I don't know if you need to do that, like you need a big, strong typeface probably right there, right?
Yeah.
And also I'm going to give you guys, I haven't given you guys my fonts yet, right? Or have I?
No, not that I remember.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a big font download, a big font dump, so you instantly have a decent font library. Okay, I know those things are illegal, okay, or copyright illegal. Again, I expect you when you start going and working that you pay for these things. Okay,
Yeah.
and I also don't want you going and giving that to everybody else at school. Okay, but I do want you to have a decent font line, and it's like, because I've given these things to other classes before, and then they go, oh, there's like 1,000 whatever, and I go, so am I supposed to sort through these all for you too? And is there any other way I can wipe your ass for you?
Of course, Mike, of course.
But I do have them. I think they go alphabetically, you know, and by name or whatever. And I did go through them at one time. I have to make sure that I'm giving you the right batch. I did go through them and just clear them all out of dead files and things like that. I want to do it for myself anyway, and then that way they're cleaner. And then there's sets in there I bought, sets in there I've gotten from companies I worked at. A lot of them I bought and all that kind of stuff. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is this going to have lava going down the side of it? It's got to.
Yeah.
What time of day is it going to be?
I haven't decided yet.
What I would do. Go ahead.
I was thinking like early morning or something.
It could be like, yeah, early morning or late in the day where you're getting sort of that in between where you can get enough, because you're going to want enough dark value on the volcano to really pop those bitchin' streams of lava.
Yeah.
You have that bitchin' warm, cool thing. And then, so it could be like late afternoon, early morning, where maybe the sky's like a deep blue, and then the volcano can still be a darker cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe there's a little pop of warmth down here towards the horizon. So you get a little bit of warmth. Yeah. So that way you're getting the best of both worlds. You can light up the scene a little bit, but you can also get that crazy lava, whatever, flowing off of it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then texture crazy. Yeah.
What? Texture?
Texture crazy.
Yeah.
Like we can put all kinds of particles in that plume.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'd go look at there's just a million things, right?
Great.
And then I'd start developing it.
Okay.
Is that steam and stuff coming out like where the lava's hitting the water?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, partially. Some of it would be, and some of it would just be like foliage, like trees and things.
Because when it hits the water, it's going to be steamy.
Yeah.
The other thing I do is I think it looks like you're indicating it. You're going to do a reflection into the water, right?
You kind of froze up again.
You're going to do a reflection of the volcano.
You froze again. I couldn't catch what you said.
Am I still frozen? How about now?
It's a little choppy, but I got it. Yeah. Yes, I'll do that. I'm not sure.
What? Not sure what?
Yeah. No, I'll do the reflection.
Got a problem, Josh? All right. No problems with the other stuff, right? None of this stuff?
No.
This is a cool mark right here. And this one.
Yeah, I actually really like that brush.
How'd you get such a good, thin, thick thing on it?
I don't know. I was just like messing around with it.
Wow, that's a really nice, thin, thick.
Yeah, I was happy with that one.
You can design it into it. Like you can, kind of pinch them off as you're designing it. Like if you want to take it in Photoshop and knock a pinch into it, it'll come back like that, right?
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, I'll mess around with it.
That's the things you want to, obviously these things were designed to go back and forth, right?
Right.
Ugh, Kayla. No problems with this, Kayla?
No, it was pretty fine.
Right on. No problems with that?
Nope.
That's a handy tool, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And where's my thumbnail? So I have thumbnails?
Yeah, there should be.
Oh, here they are. Alaska?
No, I wasn't thinking of a particular area. I just
Okay,
started
that's fine.
throwing in drawings.
This one's fun.
Mhm.
I like how stylized it is.
Cute.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I like that this guy's stylized. I like that they're all stylized. This is cool. This is cool. Very Brian Edward Miller. Yeah?
Mhm. Yeah, you showed me his work before, and I was like, ooh, I like.
God, I like both of these. That almost looks like El Capitan right there.
Oh, I've heard of it.
Huh?
I've heard of that place.
Have you been to Yosemite?
Briefly, very briefly. It was only for a day years ago.
It's amazing, man.
Hmm. I have to go back.
That place is amazing. I didn't see it till I was in I think my 40s,
Mhm.
which makes it almost more impactful. I was like, holy shit, this place it's surreal, you know?
Mhm.
Like this one too. Which one do you think?
I'm torn. I'm liking the wolf one, the deer, and the very last one a lot.
I think the deer is the strongest. What do you guys think? Somebody.
Yeah, I agree with the deer one. That was really cool. They're all
I mean,
cool.
I think all three of them work, but that deer one is just like, boom, that's a solid design. And here,
Yeah.
For Yosemite, right?
that's what it looks like to me, but
They probably haven't, because I've been there, and I do remember how like amazing it was, even though it was for a short time. So,
Did you go up to that overlook where you look into the valley?
I don't think so. I just remember being in a big valley and seeing all the trees and the big iconic, what is it, peak
Yeah.
of Yosemite. So that's probably what it is.
If you go up to that point, I don't know what it's called. Look.
Oh, you're chopping up.
God, what is going on? Am I still
When
chopping
HAL
up?
9000 dies.
I'm not chopping up now, am I?
A little bit, just a little bit.
No.
No, you're good now.
That's El Capitan.
Okay, okay.
Look, very similar.
Hmm.
Ooh.
Hmm.
So you might just want to say it's Yosemite if you want.
Sure.
Look, that totally looks like it. Yeah?
Yeah, yeah, I can see it.
I actually think it's kind of really cool when it's just coming out of your memory,
Mhm.
you know, and then you're like, wow, that's pretty, yeah, okay, you know. I'd go with this one.
Okay, I'll play with it.
Is there
Yeah, that
water
was a
down
cool
here?
sense of scale.
Yeah, I want to put like a
Yeah.
lake or something down there.
Okay, yeah, perfect. Then you can get a reflection in here. It'll be badass.
Yes.
Badass. Okay.
Have you been to Yellowstone? Has anyone here been to
I haven't been
Yellowstone yet?
Yellowstone. Probably also mind blowing. You want to see a crazy painting? I think it's of Yellowstone. It might be Yosemite. I can't remember. Go over to Autry because it's there permanently, I think.
Mhm.
The Autry Museum in Griffith Park. And they got a Thomas Moran painting there. It's this huge painting. It's like, I don't know how high it is, 10 feet, maybe more. And like, I don't know, 7 feet. It's just a huge painting, right? And the view is like you're down here and you're looking up through this canyon, you know,
Mhm.
and there's all these fallen trees, and it's like, it's a mind-blowing painting. You know, it's perfect,
Mhm.
you know. And he used to go out like on mule and stuff like that and go make field sketches and do all that kind of stuff, and then he'd come back and he'd make this mind-blowing stuff. And he's also one of the reasons why you have the national park system, because he partnered with like John Muir and eventually I think Roosevelt, was it Theodore Roosevelt, to create the national park system. And partly what he was doing was he was doing these spectacular paintings, because it's pre-photography, I think. and to show everybody, and they put them on like tour or whatever to show everybody the beauty of these places. So people would get behind, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of people who are like, screw it, man, we can drill for oil in there. And they had to go, no, screw all that stuff. Look at this place. You know what I mean? We got to preserve these places.
Yeah.
And it took an artist to do it, you know, this kind of philosophical guy, and then a president. I have his book. It's usually right here. The Thomas Moran's book. Okay. Who am I looking at? Okay. Okay, no problems with the brushes or anything?
That's pretty cool.
Okay, good. Yeah, freehand right here. And what are you thinking? Where's my thumbnails?
I didn't do a thumbnail because I want to do like a concert poster. So
That's the first Black Sabbath record, isn't it?
Yeah.
Shows
I wanted to do something different from like a national park or something. So I just kind of chose like posters, and I want to do like a concert poster, and I wanted to see if it would work or not, if there's like enough texture.
Well, you could make it enough texture. I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Is that Slayer album? Is that a real album cover?
Yeah, they're both Slayer albums. The bottom two.
Really? That is so bad.
Yeah, I know.
Like how? That looks like, I would have thought that that's like some 8th grader's doodle from class who's a Slayer fan. Does that mean,
Which
you know what
one?
I mean?
The bottom right?
No, this one right here, Hell Awaits.
Oh, I know.
That is so bad. Like, how did that even get done?
I don't know.
Wow. See, this is where I look at opportunity. If I was a young person, especially if I liked this band, even if I didn't, I'd somehow get some work to this band and basically go, come on, man, let me do your album cover. These are terrible. You know what I mean? Yeah, you could do something like that. And, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, better than that. But, you know, because one thing we referenced before, if you remember, and I'll start really going over this stuff on Monday. So I'll really start to lock down what we're, you know, some techniques with this.
Okay.
Hang on. So what I really want you to do from now until then is start to really develop your idea.
Okay.
Josh, Kayla, both of you can start to go to final drawing. Oh, and I'll pull up one more thing too. What am I doing? Oh, yeah. Why does this never come up? Hang on. Okay, that's really annoying. Let me find this. Is somebody sending out a what do they call that? Telegraph? So like this. Right?
Yeah.
You can do something like that because that's vector.
Okay.
That's vector. All these are vector. This is a really nice example, this kind of thing.
So would I go a different path, or I could do something like this, just more vectorized with more texture, or what do you mean?
Yeah. Okay. So to me, there's not that much difference between that and what I just pulled up.
Okay. So this
That
one.
the other stuff I pulled up is much better designed and executed. But you
Okay.
could do something like this and just make it sort of a painterly statement.
Okay.
That makes sense. That'll still give me my organic brush work and all that kind of stuff. So that's fine.
Okay.
And then let me see if I can find these real quick. Damn it. There was something in my head I want to show you guys. Now I already forgot it. The other thing I like about the reason I have this one in here, I like these simple stylized clouds. This is kind of just simple reduction of value using the same shapes, merging them together, and then merging them into a silhouette and just knocking back the value so you just get instant space, right?
Yeah. think you froze again.
Did I?
Oh, never mind.
No, I was just
Okay. Oh, okay.
contemplating.
That noise sounds like a horse is galloping or something.
I kind of died midway through this search here. This is another thing. We'll talk about this one. Let me see if I can find this. Damn it. You can also do a little bit of this. Let me find it. Like this kind of thing. This texture on this is an overlay. Okay. We'll talk about that a little bit more. It's kind of nice to add at the end if you want to get a sort of aged look to it. This is kind of cool. Not for this project, but just that kind of old school kind of thing, right? Your halftone stuff would come in handy for that kind of thing. Oh, here's one like I was talking about. You could use image trace to do something like that, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that to me makes sense. I just like this composition and the type. This one's got some texture in it down here. It's got some up here. It's kind of a nice, there's a lot of really cool band posters and things like that are being done now with vector. Really cool stuff. Anyway, yes, you can do this.
The bottom right
now-
one, right?
Now, don't do the same thing they're doing though, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Just define now what you're going to do, draw it, all that stuff.
Okay.
Okay. Well, this is fancy. Where you at?
All right. Yeah.
Man, you're super meticulous, right?
Yeah, I just wanted to make it organized.
I know, but that's a nice quality. And what's your major again? It's graphics, right?
Yeah, graphic design.
No problems with the brushes, yeah?
Yeah, no problem.
Good. And then where's my thumbnails? Do I have those?
Should be in the folder.
Oh, right here, I found them. Oh, Hillcrest Park, that's a cool idea.
Hmm.
I never
Actually,
thought-
that was I used to I worked at City Hall in Fullerton as the graphic designer before COVID kind of kicked us all out, and this was supposed to be my project before we left.
Oh, do
so-
that one.
Okay.
You want to do that one?
Yeah, yeah.
Because I love that, all that stone stuff they got in that house, whatever that is there, that stone stuff. It catches
Yeah.
beautiful light there at certain times of the day where it gets all warm towards the end of the day. Like, I'd be all over this.
Okay.
And are you going to go back there after this nonsense is over?
I'm not sure. They did send me like an email or like a letter before they like let everyone go that I was first priority if they're gonna rehire again, but I haven't, or no one has sent, heard from them since, like all the graphic designers.
Do you
Haven't
ever
heard back
talk?
or
Do you
anything.
have any kind of relationship with like people who managed you, like still?
No, when I worked there, I worked under the like the park director or like the manager. So we
I'd
would,
find some.
I
I would
like this-
kill this. I would kill this poster, like
Okay.
just kill it, and then I would find some reason to go, hey, you know what I've been working on while I'm off? Check it out.
Okay.
Just because, you know why? Because I want to. If I saw that and you really nailed it, I'd be like, I'd go straight to whoever's is also involved in the hiring and go, make sure we bring that dude back.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I mean, you never know. You know what I mean? But if I sat there and I saw, I'm like, man, this person's doing this cool shit, and it's not even. It's just doing this cool stuff, and we can get this level of stuff. Man, we could do posters, we could do this, we could do that. With all the other people, I'm guessing they can't do that because most graphic designers can't do that. Okay, so you want to make sure you keep elevating yourself beyond what they do. And like graphic illustration, man, is one of those things. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah.
Is that stone building that's up on the hill?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, man. And do it like beautiful, warm light.
Okay.
blue skies, whole thing. I like that park. That park is cool.
Hmm.
Okay, so let's just, these are real simple things, you guys, I'm going to go through here. Okay, one of them is this tool. Let me see if I got it right. No, not that one. This Blob Brush, okay? So it's kind of a weird tool. But if you think about it, if I come in here, so let's do this. No, I do want this one. Hang on. I'm going to fatten this up. And by the way, we wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want that. So I'd probably come up here to the stroke panel, make it a round end. It's a little more finished. Okay, so let's just put this on its own layer. So if I came in here, because this says paintbrush here, correct? Right? Yeah. If I came in here and I start going, okay, I'm going to paint this. It's really doing that, which is not very, that's not really painting, okay? Even though it's called a paintbrush, it's really more like a pencil. So if I come here in the same panel and I go down here to Blob Brush, and let's go bigger. I'm going to go out a little bit. What it's doing now is that's a shape. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't know if they automatically merge. Let's see. Oh, they do. Wait, let's see. Yeah, they do. Okay, now if I go out like that, so let's go back here. And I go, okay, I went over a little. I could come in here to my eraser. And just erase it out. Okay? Fairly simple, blah, 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 right? Now, I gotta look at my notes. Can't remember all the stuff I was gonna cover. Oh, another thing, you guys, look. So let's go. So now I just use my paintbrush. I'm gonna fatten this up. And let's see if it does what it usually does. Oh no, this one is doing it. Okay. Because sometimes, let's try this. Yeah, see how it's doing that? It's not actually erasing the line. If you go down here, path eraser tool. I think I have to select it. Hang on. I don't like this. Hang on. It'll erase out the path. Okay, if you just use a regular eraser on a line, it usually will it'll indent the shape. Does that make sense? So the path eraser tool, which is living here with your smooth tool, your pencil tool, and now I'm going to talk about the shaper tool. Okay, does that all make sense? It's pretty simple, right? The shaper tool is a weird tool to me. Again, but so are a lot of tools, so who cares? What it does is if I go and I make this circle or oval, it will clear it up for me. That makes sense? If I come in here and I go, I'm making a square, it'll turn it into a square. Now, ideally, it should go, I'm doing a hexagon. %90 of the time it does that, okay? It should make a hexagon. The other thing that's weird about it is, to me, it should have a fidelity thing here, but it doesn't really have any adjustments that I know of, okay? So it's limited. I mean, I never use it. I don't really see the value in it, really. But, you know, again, somebody else, and I've actually watched some stuff on this and go, okay, show me something that's impressive. None of it's really all that impressive. You know what I mean? It's like, I think I could do that faster just using the marquee tools and things like that. Does that make sense? Yeah. But I still want you to know what it is. Hang on. Oh, another thing, if you're making, and I do this quite a bit actually, if you're making, I don't think I talked about this. Maybe I did. Like if I'm making, a lot of times you'll be working on a thing and maybe I'll have one page of my character turns. Another page is going to be something related to it. Maybe the part breakdown, or, you know, and maybe there's a couple of pages. I can go over here to this little icon right here, which says Artboard Tool, right? And I could go, okay, I'm going to have this here. I'm going to hold Option just like anything else. I'm going to drag this over, and now I can just drag as many artboards as I want. And then I can also go up here to Save As if I want to, and export this. Now remember, this is not under Export. Okay, this is under Save As, okay? Then I can go down here to Adobe PDF, hit Save. And now you got these options. Do I want Illustrator default? Probably not. If I'm just sending it over and they don't need Illustrator information, okay? I can go at high quality print, these, which I don't remember what they are. Press quality, smallest file size. If I'm emailing it, I just want somebody to look at it, I go for smallest file size, right? And blurb, that's a blurb thing, right? If you're making a blurb book or whatever. So let's just go to smallest file size. Save PDF. And this is just telling me something about if I don't hold on to the Illustrator editing capabilities, there won't be those capabilities in there. I don't care about that right now. And I'm not going to send somebody something with Illustrator editing capabilities if they're going to edit it, because I'll just send them the Illustrator file. Does that make sense? So I'm going to hit OK. And here's the document. If I go up here and go Window, Display, no, Show Hide. There. Here's my thumbnails, and it'll lay out my pages just how I got them laid out. Really handy. Okay, it's also really handy if you talk to somebody on the phone, because I've done this a million times. I used to do it in InDesign, but now I'd probably do it here. And they go, hey, we want to see some blah, blah, blah. I like to silo my information, okay? Now, I don't think that's usually a problem, but it's a problem with me, because then they would go and see that they would be talking about package design, and then I'd go and I'd send them to just this part of, like, whatever, my website or whatever. They're naturally going to go, oh, what's he done with theme parks? Oh, he did toy stuff. Then they come back and they go, oh, you don't want this job, man. You do all that other stuff. And, okay, so that's why I like to keep my information siloed. So what I started doing is I would just do a quick, I could run in here. I already had a template. And then, I have a folder with a lot of work and stuff like that. And then I go, this person needs to see this. And I would just make a copy of this file, take most of the visual information out of it, leave in the other information, and I just swap out pictures real fast. And in half an hour, I'm sending them a PDF with just what they need to see. Does that make sense? Now, you can also do it in InDesign, but if I don't need interactivity with the file, which in that case I probably wouldn't, I can do it here. Does that make sense? Or if I'm sending a multi-page document to China to get quote costing on something, again, I could put my turnarounds, my sizes, my color callouts, my plant, my mold breakdown, my blah, 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 all my information on different sheets. It's all nice and clean, all in one document. They don't have to open up multiple documents and all that kind of stuff. And I'm controlling the read, first page, second page, third page. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? I have no idea where this file just went, by the way. Okay, now another thing. So let's go. Okay, and another thing, when you start a document, you go new, document. You can do it right here. See where it says artboards? So I could just go in here and go, you know, I want 7 pages. And it gives me that, right? Now I should be able to go here back to my artboard tool here and go delete, 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 delete. Now what's going to happen though is when I go back to start a new document, it's going to go back, it's going to stay on that 7. So I'm just going to go 1, create, and then it should, the next time it should open up with 1. Does that all make sense? Yeah?
Yeah.
And by the way, that blob tool, it doesn't give it color based on the fill swatch, which doesn't make any sense. It uses the line color. Just so you know, it's just kind of weird. And then just one last thing, I think. Let me see. Yeah. There's a thing in here. So let's go and make this. Okay, let's fill it. Let's just fill it with something. There we go. That's ugly. I don't like that. Hang on. There. Okay, so there's this thing up here. Normally when it turns on, it gets on my nerves, but it's actually a really handy thing. Usually I turn it off when I don't need it. So it's right here, Smart Guides, Command U, right? So let's go Command U. And now, if you notice, it's giving me like little path. It'll call things out. But what that's useful for, let's say that I go and make this shape now. It does cool little things like right there, it's telling me that the bottom of this, just lost it. It's weird. There it is. That just lined up with the top. Does that make sense? If I drop it down here, it should do the same there. Now it's that's right lined up in the dead middle with that line right there. Does that make sense? If I needed to get this in the middle, I could go, it's right there. And it says that little word there, it says intersect, I think is what it says. Does that make sense? So it's going, okay, you're dead center right there. So what it's doing, and it does a lot of other things, but it's going to let you sort of line like this. So I want to get it lined up right on that edge with this circle, this on the edge, which is hard to do if you don't do it that way. It'll line it bang. It'll tell you when it's lined up perfect. Does that make sense? Comes in handy also when you're making, like we've done before, we're making all these shapes and then moving it over as a shadow value. I could move it over until it tells me it met that edge perfectly. Then I know I'm landing it right where it should be. Does that make sense? And there's just a bunch of other stuff it does, but it basically helps you line things up. It's snapping too a little bit, like right there, it snaps. Again, so I know where it is. And why it's also handy is because you also have up here, let's make this a different color. You also have up here, sort of like our Pathfinder thing, only these are the line tools here. And I think we talked about this. So I can do that and line it up, or I could do that, line it up at the bottom. But you'll notice once in a while, there'll be, for whatever reason, there'll be something with that shape it's not perfect. Does that make sense? Now I could do it this way. Let me get rid of this. where I come in here to my center, tell it to center it there, and then come over here and tell it to center there, and that's centered. Okay, so there's different ways of doing it. The align tools will help you do it too, but those smart guides also will give you things that the line tools sort of a broad strokes thing, and the smart guide stuff will give you like measurements and all kinds of things. Does that make sense? Like I know a lot of people who they really rely on those in their work because they're just being really precise. Yeah. Okay, everybody knows what we're doing for this next project?
Yes.
If we haven't approved the sketch, then make sure you have a refined sketch on Monday, because Monday I'm going to go through sort of scene creation a little bit. I used to have some, hopefully I lost a, I think I still have it though. I lost a drive. I got to take it down and get the data extracted off of it. So I'm hoping none of my teaching things are there, but if they are, I'll just make a new one. And I think that's it. Okay. I'm not going to give you an assignment for the blob tool and all that, but I think you should go try, because those are like literally 5-minute learning curves. But I think you should go in and try the blob tool and these different things. Yeah. Path eraser tool, eraser. You probably use the eraser already. But the one thing, the reason I want to bring up the eraser is it's confusing if you don't realize it does that weird thing with full shapes. You know, because you're like, why is this not erasing this? Why is it pushing it in? You know, because there's a path eraser tool. That's why. Okay. Kayla, are we keeping you up? Is that a backdrop in Zoom or is that a wall thing?
It's a wall tapestry.
Oh.
Yeah.
Or you just live in the forest?
Yep.
That's what it looks like outside my house. Outside here.
Yeah, I'm jelly.
Are you?
Yeah, I wish I was in the mountains.
Oh. It is nice. I like it. I haven't seen any bears yet. Maybe I have a feeling they're out probably now though. Let me make sure I got my screen grab. Hang on. You guys are moving along at a good clip. You're getting ahead of me on some of these things, which is good. You know what else I'm going to try and do? I'm going to try and find some, I might have already put up Ken Taylor. There's another guy. I think I showed you guys. This guy did this really interesting wine label. I forgot his name now. I'll have to find it. And then there's another guy, and I have to find him, who does really crazy, like a lot of mixing of techniques in Illustrator, like a lot of gradients and things like that, but he does it kind of in an interesting way. If I can find him, I'm going to try and find a couple of now that are sort of next level Illustrator people. Does that make sense? Because what I really want you guys to do is think, yeah, you know, this sort of super flat vector stuff is great and all that, but make sure, I think we talked about it on Monday. Make sure that I want to make sure that I'm introducing you to people who are pushing it way past that, because that's what I want you guys to do. You know what I mean? Now you might go and develop a total super flat portfolio. That's cool. I love super flat stuff, but you know, I just want to make sure that you have the option and understand that Illustrator could do a lot more than that. Yeah. Which is why we're doing this process now with, the other thing I'd say is when you're building your scene for this thing we're doing, I'd start, you know, with those basic shapes and start texturing after you start to get all the shapes sort of in there, because, and it depends on your computer, but sometimes we start putting a lot of shape in there and all that kind of stuff, especially this sort of thing we're going to do in this with a lot of texture and stuff, which again creates a lot of points. It could bog it down. Okay. So I tend to like, you know, I would work the basic shapes anyway if it was a regular painting anyway, or Illustrator. I'm going to build it that way anyway, because that's just how I build things. You know, I always start with basic shapes. But you know, if you got a pretty good, powerful machine, it should be fine. Like I don't really have that much trouble on this machine. This machine's like 6 years old or something, right? So, and I don't have that much problem with it. And I think that's it. Yeah. Everybody knows what they're doing?
I have some questions, but
Yeah.
it's Yeah,
It's what?
I have some questions. Oh, I have some questions, but it's outside of class. So I try to contact you about the syllabus situation and all that.
Oh, what do you need from the syllabus? I'll put it back up.
Oh, the contact info, because I try to talk to you about something regarding.
Is it
outside
something
class.
serious?
It's regarding work.
Okay, just hang out here and I'll let everybody go. Yeah?
Okay.
All right, you guys, I'm gonna let you go. I'll put this video up as quick
you.
as I can. Get to work.